My friends, every time news breaks that another speedrun or gaming high score record has been outed as fake, we can only wonder just how long until the next one is found. It's improbable that we will ever get to a point where we can be sure that all recognized speedruns are fully legit and cheating is eliminated for good. And so it's a reality of speedrunning and anything that requires competition that at least some of the people or records you're competing against will be dishonest and illegitimate. And no matter how good a community gets at detecting and deterring fake speedruns, there's always a chance there will be a fake speedrun record out there on the rankings or leaderboards, believed by many to be real. Many of the recently outed fakes never saw it coming, with almost no one imagining these runs were illegitimate until they were caught by a savvy moderation team, while other runs hold a heavy air of suspicion around them for years, all while no one can prove they're not legit. This is a video I've wanted to make for a long while, where I lay out a bunch of facts about the speedrun you're seeing right now, and ask whether you think this run is real or faked. I, for years, believed this run to be fake. The quality of the video is too poor, the luck factors needed are too unlikely, and the circumstances surrounding this run are highly questionable. The run is perhaps the most controversial in recent GoldenEye Perfect Dark Elite history, and I've been one of a number of people who have made several threads over the years or started other community discussion, asking us all to look at this run and seriously consider its validity. This speedrun in question is that of Chuya Takizawa of Japan, beating Perfect Dark's attack ship stage on the agent difficulty in 2 minutes and 6 seconds. When he got this time in May 2011, it was a 4-second untied world record, beating a formerly 8-way tied record, which had originally been set by Your Eliteness in 2004. Today, it's still untied, and only 2 men, the legendary Karl Jobst and Bryan Bosshardt, have got lower than the 210 mark from years ago, and they only have 209 and 208. Chuya's 206 is now the oldest standing untied world record in Perfect Dark, and the third longest lasting untied ever in the game's history. Already starting to sound pretty unbelievable, eh? We haven't even got started yet. The thing is, the more I started to take a deep dive into Chuya's strange world of attack ship Agent 206, the less sure I've become that the run is fake. After hours spent analyzing the footage frame by frame, timing and retiming the ending, and calculating advanced math formulas, I've started to convince myself that maybe, just maybe, Chuya actually somehow got this record for real. I just don't know what to think anymore. So I'm just going to lay it all out there, and you can decide for yourself what you think about this controversial speedrun. Real or fake?
Oh no, we have a problem. It's a single-seater.
So as you can already tell, there are a number of issues with this speedrun. The quality is terrible, the entire capture is shaking in all directions, you can hardly make out what's going on, and you definitely can't read a little in-game timer in the bottom left corner. A feature the rare developers added in Perfect Dark, perhaps after GoldenEye's cheap target time speedrunning became so popular. And a feature which helps deter splicing immensely. I mean, think just how hard it'd be to splice around with the exact correct background, location, and timer to the 100th of a second. Something much more easily done in poor quality. And this extremely lucky run has been dubbed over with this absurd, ironic J-pop song, One in a Million by Tomohisa Yamashita. No natural in-game sound version of the video exists, which renders a tried and tested method of detecting a splice by looking at its audio spectrum useless. The run would not meet current Perfect Dark community proof standards, but back in 2011, in an era of an indifferent, lax moderation team, all you needed was a video, as vague as that may be, and the run was welcomed to the rankings in high praise. Now here's another twist. For a long time it was believed that Chuya took the unexplained measure, along with his compatriot Takahiro Arai, a former Perfect Dark champion, of removing all their proof videos from public record. I should add, this is something we've seen done by others who were later proven to have faked records, including Crystal with her Link to the Past world records, as well as White Eris and Akikan's Super Mario 64 16-star records. The theory being that if no one can watch the video, no one can detect splice. But I've also seen angsty teenagers remove all their speedruns when they get fed up with wasting so much time playing video games and just want to leave it all behind, starting a new life. In any case, the only remaining videos we have of Chuya's Perfect Dark speedruns are ones other people saved for one reason or another, including the attack ship 206, resulting in a mere 8 of his 60 Perfect Dark times currently having proof videos, among the worst proof records in all of Perfect Dark. The thing is, during this investigation, a keen eye found an old buried forum post from 2011 which indicated Chuya's channel with his Perfect Dark videos was removed from YouTube for having too many third-party copyright violations, something I've never seen before, and clicking his channel bears this message. I guess all the J-pop memes came back to bite Chuya after all. This still doesn't answer the question of why Chuya never re-uploaded his videos elsewhere as proof, as he did continue to play Perfect Dark for a couple more years after that. Chuya's minimal interaction with the Elite community, never having chatted much with other runners, rarely participating in community discussion, never appearing at events. Sure, there was a language and cultural barrier there, but he also has no social proof to substantiate his claims as a top-tier Perfect Dark player. So we have a guy nobody really knows, no one's ever seen play, whose videos are mostly gone for one reason or another, and whose best world record was 4 seconds untied when set, with nearly unwatchable quality and no in-game sound. And we still haven't got to the most ridiculous part yet. And just to understand how ridiculous that part is, we have to learn a little bit about the level, Attack Ship Agent. So here's a brief walkthrough using Bryan Bosshart's 210 as a template. He got this 210 a few months before he lowered to 208, the best non-Chuya time ever recorded. And 210 is a good time to look at, as it's sort of the landing place for most top players, with 8 people sharing the tie for 4th place. I'm going to glaze over the level until the ending, since that's a pivotal point on any attack ship run. So here are the objectives for Attack Ship Agent. Objective 1, Disable Shield System. Objective 2, Access Navigational Systems. And Objective 3, Gain Control of Bridge. It'll all make sense when you start watching the run. So Boss starts out, he takes out this Skedar on the right. He's going to pick up the Skedar's Mauler, which is a pretty powerful weapon. And in Perfect Dark, you pause to take out weapons a little bit faster. He's going to blow up these 3 consoles, and that's Objective 1. The shield systems have been disabled. Now, according to the story, this little gray alien, who you could maybe just see back there, Elvis, now that the shields are down, Elvis can land on this attack ship. And the kind of premise of Perfect Dark is these gray aliens, Elvis and friends, are battling these other types of aliens, these Skedar. And it kind of meets full head here on this attack ship. The shield system's been disabled. Objective 1, Elvis lands on the attack ship, and he's going to help you continue the rest of the mission. So Elvis comes and throws you a AR-34 rifle, which you're going to use to take out Skedar behind these hangar doors. You have to take out 4 of them, and the first 2 have to have quick animations on their deaths. Boss takes out the 4 quite handily. And once you've taken out the 4, now you can proceed up this lift. And these other Skedar he's killing don't really matter. But he's on this lift, and you can make out in the bottom left corner, the timer in-game is about 38 seconds, and it'll shoot up a high 39 here, is when the lift starts taking up. And nothing you can do can speed that up. That's like, you're kind of limited by the lift cycle in the game. No matter what, every good player will get 39 there, never faster. It's not known to be possible. So everyone is on an even playing ground right now. Now the next minute or so of the mission can vary, and that's where time is won or lost on the stage. So Boss carries through the level, killing these Skedar. Now the thing is, Elvis is going to follow you up here to complete Objective 2, and the Skedar freak him out a lot, they kill him, and that fails the objective, so you want to take them out as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Now this room Boss is in now is the navigational system room, Elvis is going to follow you into this room and access the navigational systems. The thing is, he's trailing quite a bit behind, and you just have to kind of hope that he will catch up and complete Objective 2 quickly enough. Now, I should certainly point out that on the English NTSC version, that is quite uncommon. You can see Objective 2 come up right there. On PAL and on NTSC Japanese, Objective 2 completes way more frequently. On English, it's just really, really rare. It makes it a hell of a level of play there. And so, because English NTSC is the most commonly played version of the game, it is certainly reasonable to think that Chuya's insane record from 2011, part of the reason it went untouched so long is because fewer people have access to the Japanese version and the PAL version, where this objective completes with some regularity. On English, the guys are telling me it sometimes completes once every 10 hours. It can be that bad. But on Japanese and PAL, it completes very, very regularly. So this was certainly a deterrent to people playing the level back in the day in an attempt to tie Chuya's 206. Now, with Objective 2 complete, this door to Boss's left opens. It doesn't open until Objective 2 is complete, so Elvis barely completed the objective in time. But Boss is going to proceed through here and take out more Skedar, and now there's a couple more lifts, so he just checked the pause there to see if the lift was opening or closing, so he knows which order to press B in, for example. And now he goes up this other lift. He's going to have a similar situation right here. This lift barely opened before he got her, pretty good timing. And now Boss is going to carry up to the ending, which is where things really start to matter on Attack Ship. So to better understand the ending, let's first watch this random run I played out earlier to demonstrate the intended ending. The lift pushes you up into the bridge room, where you have to take out 3 more Skedar. Once you do so, the room eerily goes quiet for about 12 seconds until Elvis walks through the left of these 2 doors. Elvis runs onto the bridge, and then Skedar starts spawning, running out of these 2 doors. And once you kill 6 of them, or so, it deems you've taken control of the bridge, Objective 3 completes, and about a second later, the level fades out in completion. Now let's watch how it plays out on Boss's 210 run. We'll see him take out the 3 Skedar on the bridge, then about 12 seconds later, Elvis runs in. Now you'll see Boss stand in the doorway where Elvis exited. This prevents it from closing, and does something very useful. You see, of those 6 Skedar who we fought on the previous run, only 2 of them were real to begin with. Those 2 are located behind the 2 doors in this room. We'll call them real left door Skedar and real right door Skedar. They're always there, even as the level loads, and are cloaked and invulnerable, waiting to battle. And they're the only 2 Skedar you need to kill here at the ending to complete the mission. At first, they send out clones of themselves, something enemies can do in both Perfect Dark and GoldenEye if they're outside of your line of sight. However, if you're looking directly at the real left or real right door Skedar, they cannot send out any clones. So Boss is standing in the doorway, preventing real left door Skedar from cloning himself, and when you see him uncloak there, that's the real left door Skedar. Once you kill him, he obviously can't send out any more clones either. Boss then moves to the other door and kills the first Skedar who exits. This Skedar is a clone, but since you kill him and stand in the now open doorway, looking at the real right door Skedar, the next Skedar to uncloak will be the real one, and once you kill him, you will complete the level. So to some, if you're playing the level as intended, you'll usually not be looking at either real left or real right door Skedar. They'll send out 2 clones each, then uncloak themselves, and defeating all 6 of these Skedar completes the mission. But by looking in the direction of the real Skedars, you can reduce this down to only 1 clone total, and only 3 Skedar needed to defeat to complete Objective 3 and the mission. Now here's where it gets crazy. The Skedar clone or uncloak themselves at random speed, taking anywhere between 0.1 seconds and 5 seconds to do so. The absolute earliest the first Skedar, real left door Skedar, can uncloak is 23.3 seconds after you shoot the last bridge Skedar. Remember this guy? The second Skedar that being the clone of real right door Skedar, can also uncloak randomly between 0.1 and 5 seconds after those original 23.3 seconds have elapsed. But he takes an extra 3.3 seconds to go from his uncloaked position, walk to the door, and open it. And then once he's disposed, the final Skedar, real right door Skedar, can uncloak once again between 0.1 and 5 seconds later. So what determines if the Skedar will uncloak in 0.1, 1, 2, or 5 seconds? Inconsistently, every 2 to 4 frames or so after the 23.3 seconds have passed since the last bridge Skedar has been defeated, the game starts checking for a random byte in its code, 0 to 225 for 256 total bytes. If the game chooses the correct 1 byte, the Skedar or his clone, depending on where you're looking, will uncloak. So using an average of the game checking bytes every 3 frames or every 0.1 seconds, this means that every 10th of a second, we have a 1 in 256 chance of the Skedar uncloaking. This only carries on to 5 seconds when the Skedar in question will automatically uncloak. So for the 3 Skedar you have to kill to end the mission, each of them has 50 chances at what is basically a 1 in 256 dice roll to show themselves a little earlier than usual, obviously saving time. So here's some basic probability math. Imagine throwing a standard 6-sided dice, and you hope it's going to land on 1. Obviously, the odds of this happening are 1 in 6. But what about if you're hoping to land on a 1 within 2 throws? To figure out these odds, we calculate the chances of it not landing on a 1, which are 5 out of 6, and put this to the power of 2, the number of throws we're making. This gives us 25 out of 36, or 0.69444. We then subtract this from 1 and get 0.30555, which means the odds of us landing a 1 within 2 throws of a dice are around 30.5%. Sounds about right, right? If we calculate this for 10 throws of a dice, the odds will land at least 1 but come out 83%. And after 30 throws, we're at a 99.5% chance to have landed a 1. But the chances don't stack up so quickly when we're dealing with something like a 256-sided dice. If we calculate the odds of hitting a 1, representing the correct byte, after 50 throws, the chances we'll get any of the 3 Skedar to uncloak ahead of schedule are only 17.77% each. So about 82% of the time, the Skedar in question will take the full 5 seconds to uncloak. If we take this number and put it to the power of 3, the number of Skedar we need to uncloak, we get roughly 55% of runs where all 3 Skedar will take the full 5 seconds to uncloak, thus not saving any time at all. As you can probably guess by now, Chuya's run had all 3 Skedar appear very quickly, unfathomably so. The last thing I should point out though is how the raw human eye used to time the ending. You see, not too long ago we didn't know that the real left door Skedar's spawn time was related to the time you shot the final bridge Skedar. We thought it was more closely related to when Elvis cracks the left door open, so we'd calculate the time it'd take between Elvis cracking the door and the end of the stage, and that's what we'd consider our end time. Elvis generally takes about 12 seconds to crack the door open from when you kill the last bridge Skedar, but using that is very slightly less consistent than knowing the real left door Skedar can spawn 23.3 seconds after the last bridge Skedar is killed. With that in mind, let's take a look at some good runs to gauge just what qualifies as a good or standard ending luck. On Boss's Agent 210, he gets a 136.2 last bridge Skedar kill, a 148.7 Elvis, and a 210 completion, for what we'd call a 22 ending. Boss considers this really good in the description, and we'll find out just how good soon. On Boss's 208, the second best run ever, he has a 134.65 last bridge Skedar kill, a 147.0 Elvis, and a 208 completion for a mid-high 21 second ending. Exceptionally good. On Greeny Net's Special Agent 233, a 2-second untied on that difficulty with the same ending mechanics, he has a 2-minute.25 last bridge Skedar kill, a high 212 Elvis, and a 233 completion for another 21 second ending. These are among the best endings we've ever seen. But if we look at Chuya's 206 Agent, the run in question, and we have to add a timer to approximate ourselves because of the poor quality. We'll see a 135 last bridge scalar kill, which is a little bit slower than Boss's 208, a low 147 Elvis, and then a 19-second ending for a high 206. A 19-second ending has, no joke, never been seen ever before or after in the history of Perfect Dark. Not just on a world record run or personal best run, but even on trash runs that just get played out until the ending. Of all the recorded Perfect Dark runs, casual, speedrunning, whatever it may be, played out in world history, in the tens or hundreds of thousands of runs, not one has had a 19-second ending that we know of. And many Perfect Dark players do have video proof of their fastest ever endings, a 20 or a 21-second ending on a bad run. Truly, among every single run ever played out, across all difficulties of Attack Ship, Chuya's 206 is the only run with a 19-second ending. And he happened to get it on a run with the 147 Elvis pace, which is among the fastest runs to that point in Perfect Dark history. I asked other top players about it. Karl claims he has maybe about 20 runs in his career with a 147 Elvis, and about 5 with a 146 Elvis. Perfect Ace estimated around 20 147 Elvises, and 30 or 40 148 Elvises. So not only did Chuya get the absolute fastest ending ever recorded by a significant margin, but he did so on truly one of only a few dozen or 100 runs that had a 147 or lower Elvis pace in history. Truly remarkable. So here's where we jump down the rabbit hole and really start to look at the chances Chuya got this run for real. And if there are any statisticians or math wizards out there, please chime in with how you'd solve this problem, or if you think the way I've done it is correct. So if we analyze Chuya's run, we'll see that he shoots the last bridge scalar at 135.30, which means the real left door scalar can uncloak at the earliest at 158.60. In reality, he uncloaks at 2 minutes 0.23, 1.63 seconds later, or roughly 16 byte checks later. So the odds of the scalar uncloaking on this byte check are 1 minus 255 out of 256 to the power of 16, which is 0.0607, or roughly 6.07%. Chuya goes over to the right door, where we see the cloned scalar crack the door at 202.47. It takes him 3.3 seconds after spawning to open the door, so we know this scalar spawned around 159.17, about 0.5 seconds after the earliest possible moment, or roughly 6 byte checks. Again, we do 1 minus 255 out of 256 to the power of 6, and get 0.0232, or roughly a 2.3% chance of Chuya getting the scalar to uncloak this quickly. Chuya then shoots this guy at 203.00, and the real right door scalar uncloaks at 204.30, 1.3 seconds or 13 byte checks after Chuya shoots the clone. We do the math, 1 minus 255 out of 256 to the power of 13, and get 0.0496, or roughly 4.9% chance of this scalar spawning this quickly. We then multiply these three numbers together to calculate the odds of these happening in succession, and get the astronomically low 0.00006989161, or 0.0069%, which is roughly 1 in 14,307. That's right, this calculation shows the odds of Chuya getting this ending with these spawns in this order to be 1 in 14,307. I put this problem out to our speedrun for any advice, and some brought up a good point, that there are other combinations of spawn rates that would get equally fast endings. With 16th, 6th, and 13th byte checks, Chuya had 32 failed checks with 3 successes. So it could be imagined that any combination where we get 3 successful byte checks with only 32 or fewer fails would be equally fast. We can plug these numbers into a negative binomial distribution calculator, and we get a lower cumulative value of 0.000355, or around 0.035%, which is roughly 1 in 2,815. Markedly better odds than the 1 in 14,000, but still not great. And then we realize with some careful thought, this negative binomial distribution doesn't quite work in practice. The function works if, say, getting any combination of 32 failures and 3 total successes, like a 33rd byte check first scatter uncloak, a first byte check second scatter spawn, and a first byte check third scatter uncloak, would be equally fast to what Chuya got. But it isn't, because if you got a 33rd try first scatter uncloak, the second scatter will already be out the right door while you're still shooting the first scatter. So you would actually lose time by not being able to shoot the second scatter so early. With that in mind, we know at least some of these combinations are not as fast, and that the odds of Chuya's speed scatters have to be worse than the 1 in 2,815 figure we got with this method. The final thing I tried, which I believe to be the best method I found so far, is going back to our first method, but adjusting the first scatters on cloak to simply be fast enough to make it over to the second scatter without losing any time. If you look at Boss's 208, for example, a run we'll get back to in a second, he shoots the last bridge scatter at 134.65, which means the real left door scatter can uncloak at earliest at 157.95. It does so at 159.21, which is roughly a 13th try byte check. He then moves over to the right door and makes around 201.10. The door isn't cracked with the right scatter clone until 203.44, so Boss waited about 2.3 seconds at that door longer than needed. This means he could theoretically add 2.3 seconds or 23 byte checks worth of leniency to his first scatter. So instead of using the 13th try byte check that he got, we can use a 36th try first scatter uncloak, as this would be fast enough to make it over to the second in time for an optimal kill. What this does is effectively remove the combinations of spawning that would be ineffective, out of order, or lose time with the second scatter, while leaving in all the possible combinations that would make it to the second and third scatter in time. After weeks of studying and consulting others about the ending probability of attack ship, I'm confident this is the best method to calculate how lucky you were on any given ending of attack ship. Okay, so let's go back to Chuya's 206 and readjust this same way. Chuya's first scatter uncloaks at 2 minutes, 0.23, which we determined to be roughly a 16th try byte check. He moves over to the right door at 201.97, and the second scatter cracks the door at 202.47. So we can add leniency of about 0.5 seconds or 5 byte checks to the first scatter, and know that if Chuya got a 21st try byte check, it'd be adequate for him to get over to the second scatter in time. We plug these numbers back in with the adjustment in mind, and we get 0.00009085, or 0.009%, or roughly 1 in 11,007. Slightly better than the original calculation of 1 in 14,307. For good measure, let's look again at Boss's 208, the next fastest attack ship agent run in history. As we determined, we can give Boss leniency on the first scatter up to 36th try. The second door cracks at 203.44, which means the second scatter spawned 3.3 seconds earlier at 2 minutes, 0.14, which is 2.2 seconds or 22 byte checks after the earliest possible moment, 157.95. Boss shoots the second scatter at 203.95, and the third scatter spawns exactly 2 seconds or 20 byte checks later. We plug these byte checks into the formula and we get 0.0008168, or 0.816%, or roughly 1 in 1,225. About 10 times more likely to get Boss's 21-second ending than Chuya's 19-second ending. The last thing we can do is this. I already mentioned how the top runners have only had a handful of runs to the end as fast as Chuya. So let's be generous and assume there have been about 200 runs in the entirety of Perfect Arc speedrunning, with a 135 last bridge scatter kill, equivalent to a roughly 147 Elvis, which would be fast enough to get a 206 with the 19-second ending. We can then plug these numbers into our cumulative distribution function and roughly estimate the chances of getting the 1 in 11,007 ending after only 200 tries. Surprisingly, we actually get 0.018, or around 1.8%. I know this number sounds decent, so it'd be weird to know these are the odds that someone would have landed the Chuya ending in the history of world record pace runs to the end, not the actual odds. If we imagine there have been 1,000 runs to the end with this pace, the odds go up to 8.6%, and with 10,000 runs to the end, the odds go all the way up to almost 60%. There haven't been 10,000 runs, let's be clear about that. But it shows how quickly the math of getting the Chuya ending can start to add up the more and more runs you get to the end. Chuya's forum posts from the time indicate he was playing attack ship agent on and off for roughly a month. So based on what other top players have said, I'd ballpark Chuya got somewhere between 40 to 150 runs of this speed to the ending. You can probably get somewhere between 3 to 10 runs of that speed per daily session. That's just speculation, but here are the facts we know right now. A speedrunner whom no one has ever seen play live claims he got a 4-second untied world record, where the speed of the run is something the world's best players have only matched a few dozen times each, and the luck needed in the run is in the range of 1 in 11,000. The video footage is shaky at best, there's no natural in-game audio, and this runner has a poor record of proven speedruns, having had their videos removed for one reason or another and never having bothered to re-upload them. So what do you think? Did Chuya really do it? Did he really get this 1 in 11,007 luck ending on one of the fastest few dozen runs in attack ship history? An ending roughly 10 times as lucky as the next most lucky ending ever recorded. When I first began this journey, I was expecting the math to show something in the 1 in millions or billions. Something clearly incredulous. So far-fetched we'd be foolish to believe it. Even Chuya seems to think that his luck was... And while the math is pretty unlikely, it's not quite that far away in a magical place somewhere over the rainbow. It's absurd, it's remote, but it's somehow not that implausible. That being said, incredible claims require incredible proof, and this proof video is far from incredible. A likely result of the shortcomings of the elite administration and moderation team at the time. So all we're left to go on is this. And the more I look at it, think about it, get entirely consumed by it, the less I know what to think of it. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on this speedrun and any input on the math I used to solve the problem. I should give one final caveat that the math can't be that precise because the way of doing byte checks aren't exactly every 0.1 seconds and can vary by unknown amounts due to lag or other random factors. But all in all, I think we gave it a fair and honest job estimating how it all played out. This video has gotten pretty long and taken me on a journey I'm not sure I was ready for, to be honest, so I'm just going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this fantastical analysis of the most controversial speedrun in Perfect Dark history. Thank you for watching, stay true, and I'll see you in the next stream or video.
Wow, that's the first time I've seen another planet from space. It's beautiful.
Hmm?